My wife and I were filming a TikTok, one of those cutesy videos showing how in love we were, when a comment popped up under a photo of Chloe. It was a picture I'd never seen before, an explicit photo with the comment, Cuck. A jolt went through me. In the photo, Chloe's clothes were in disarray, her expression lost in a hazy pleasure, and lying next to her was a man's arm. But the thing that made my blood run cold was the necklace around her neck. The one I gave her. The one she told me she'd lost yesterday. The phone slipped from my grasp and clattered onto the floor. Chloe poked her head out of the kitchen. "What was that, honey? Did you drop your phone?" My movements were stiff as I bent down to pick it up. The photo was still on the screen, glaring and undeniable. It was a clear shot, taken from a sneaky angle, like someone had snapped it without her knowing. But it was definitely Chloe. I knew every inch of her skin, every detail, like the small mole on her right shoulder. "It's nothing, it just slipped," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Chloe walked over, trying to glance at my screen. I instinctively flipped the phone face down on the table. "What's wrong?" A flicker of panic crossed her eyes. "Is there something I can't see? Just work stuff? You wouldn't be interested." My heart was hammering against my ribs. "That necklace. It was a platinum and diamond necklace I'd bought for our anniversary. $10,000. She told me it was the most precious gift she'd ever received and swore she'd never take it off. But just last night, she'd come to me with tears in her eyes, telling me she'd lost it. She cried for hours. I spent the entire night comforting her. And now, here was that lost necklace, draped around her neck while she was tangled up with another man. "Leo, you look terrible. Are you working too hard?" Chloe reached out and touched my forehead with concern. "Maybe we should skip the video tonight? You should get some rest." Her hand was cool against my burning skin. I looked into her clear eyes, which were filled with what looked like genuine care and affection. If I hadn't seen that photo, I would have sworn she was the best wife in the world. "No, it's fine. Let's finish it." I forced a smile. Chloe nodded obediently and adjusted the camera angle. She was wearing the white sundress I loved, her long hair falling over her shoulders, her smile sweet and radiant. Through the lens, she was breathtaking, just as beautiful as the day I first met her 3 years ago. 3, 2, 1, action. "Hey everyone, it's Chloe," she chirped at the camera. "Today is my amazing husband's and my 3rd wedding anniversary." I stood beside her, pasting on my standard smile, but inside, it felt like I was being torn apart by 1,000 knives. In the video, we looked happy, like any other couple deeply in love. The comments section flooded with fans writing, "So sweet," "relationship goals," and "happy anniversary." But that one comment, the one with the photo, with a dagger twisted in my heart. Cuck, the internet slang for a man being cheated on. And that photo was the ironclad proof. I discreetly checked the profile of the person who posted it. It was a new, anonymous account. That only confirmed my suspicion. Someone wanted me to see this. But who? And why? "Leo? Leo." Chloe nudged me. "What are you thinking about? I've called your name 3 times. "Oh, sorry. Nothing," I said, snapping back to reality. "Are we done filming?" "We finished 5 minutes ago. You were completely zoned out." She looked worried. "You're acting really strange today. Is something wrong at work? You can talk to me about it." I looked at her concerned expression and suddenly felt sick to my stomach. She was a phenomenal actress. If it weren't for that picture, I never would have doubted her. "I'm just going to get some air on the balcony," I said, grabbing my phone. Once outside, I pulled up the comment again. I didn't recognize the room in the photo, but from the decor, it looked like a high-end hotel. Chloe was topless, the necklace glittering under the lights. I could only see the man's arm, but the watch on his wrist told me he was wealthy. A Rolex Submariner, the Hulk, a watch worth over $20,000. My mind started racing, replaying all of Chloe's recent odd behavior. She had been going out a lot, claiming she was meeting up with her girlfriends. She was coming home later and later, sometimes not at all, saying she'd had too much to drink and crashed at a friend's place. I'd offer to pick her up, but she always refused, saying she didn't want to bother me. It all made sense now. I gripped my phone, my knuckles turning white. 3 years of marriage. I thought we were happy. I worked myself to the bone, coming home late every night just to give her a better life. Our house, our cars, the jewelry she wore. I'd saved up for every single thing. And all the while, she was betraying me behind my back, putting on a show of being the loving wife to my face. "Honey, dinner's ready," Chloe called from the living room. I took a deep breath, composed my face, and walked back inside. The table was set with a beautiful home-cooked meal, all of my favorite dishes. Chloe served me a plate, even carefully deboning a piece of fish for me. "You've been so quiet tonight, Leo. Did I do something wrong?" she asked cautiously. "No, you've been great," I replied mechanically. "Great. great enough to sleep with another man, and then come home to play the perfect wife. Oh, good. I was worried you were upset, she said, relieved. By the way, I'm going out with Ashley and the girls tomorrow night. I'll probably be back late, so don't wait up for me. Another night out. The phrase was a joke now. Okay, have fun. Thanks. You're the best, honey, she said, giving me a cheerful kiss. The touch of her lips felt like a branding iron. After dinner, Chloe went to take a shower. As soon as I heard the water running, I grabbed her phone. Thankfully, she hadn't changed the passcode. It was still our wedding anniversary. My hand trembled slightly as I opened her iMessage. Among her recent chats with her girlfriends, there was one contact named Ethan Vance. I tapped on it, and my world fell apart. Ethan, dinner tonight. Same place. Chloe, sounds good. I told my husband I'm going out with my girlfriends. Ethan, that clueless husband of yours still has no idea, does he? Chloe, and what if he did? It's not like I love him. If he wasn't financially stable, I never would have married such a boring guy. Ethan, that necklace he got you is nice, though. 10 grand. Chloe, he's good at spending money. I'll give him that. But he's just so dull. Being with you is the only time I actually feel alive. Ethan, miss me? Chloe, I'm dying to see you. I wish I could be there right now. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. I scrolled up. The messages went back 3 months. 3 months ago, right around the time Chloe had started talking about us having a baby, she wasn't thinking about having a baby with me. She was already sleeping with someone else. What enraged me even more was the way they talked about me. This Ethan Vance guy constantly mocked me, calling me a sucker, a chump, the perfect guy to take advantage of, and Chloe didn't just let him. She joined in. Chloe, my husband's a workaholic. All he thinks about is making money. He has zero romance in him. Chloe, he comes home at night and just zones out in front of the TV. We barely even talk. Chloe, sleeping with him feels like a chore. There's no passion, nothing. Chloe, thank God I have you. I think I'd go crazy otherwise. Reading those words felt like a physical blow. I worked hard to give her a good life. I was quiet because I've always been an introvert. I thought she knew that. I thought she loved me for who I was. But in her eyes, I was a total and complete loser. The sound of the shower stopped. Chloe would be out any second. I quickly deleted the chat history from her recent list and put the phone back where I found it. Hey, what you up to? She asked, walking out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, her hair still dripping. Just watching some TV, I said, my voice surprisingly level. She sat down next to me, her skin smelling of her floral body wash. I used to love that scent. Now it just made me feel nauseous. I'm pretty tired, honey. I think I'll go to bed, she said, kissing my cheek. You should get some rest soon, too. I watched her walk into the bedroom and felt a chill run down my spine. This woman had just been texting another man about how much she wanted him, and now she was acting so tenderly toward me. Every kiss, every hug, every sweet word was a lie. I pulled out my phone and looked at the photo again. The more I stared, the hotter my anger burned. I, Leo Miller, had worked my entire life and never been this humiliated. Chloe, if you think I'm such a fool, I'm about to show you who the real fool is. The next evening, just as she'd said, Chloe announced she was going out with her friends. She changed into a black dress I'd never seen before, put on a full face of makeup, and sprayed herself with perfume. I'm heading out, honey. Don't wait up for me, she said, grabbing a new handbag. I might be really late. Where are you guys going? I asked. That new Italian place downtown. Ashley made reservations, she answered, without missing a beat. I can give you a ride. Oh no, don't worry about it. I'll just get an Uber, she said quickly, waving me off. It's not far. All right then. Be safe. The moment the door closed behind her, I was already moving. I got in my car and followed her Uber from a safe distance, watching as it headed straight for the most expensive 5-star hotel in the city. My heart sank into the pit of my stomach. Chloe got out of the car and walked straight into the hotel lobby. I parked my car and quietly followed her inside. At the elevator bank, I saw him. A man in his mid-30s, wearing a sharp suit and the same Rolex Submariner from the photo. He was handsome enough, but he had a sleazy look in his eyes that screamed trouble. The moment Chloe saw him, she practically leaped into his arms. They started kissing right there in the middle of the lobby, completely oblivious to the people around them. I ducked behind a large pillar, my fists clenched so tightly my nails dug into my palms. The elevator doors closed, and they were gone. I waited in the lobby for 2 hours before they finally came back down. Chloe's hair was a little messy, and her face was flushed. The man had his arm wrapped possessively around her waist, a smug look on his face. They lingered in the lobby for a few more minutes, acting like lovesick teenagers, before Chloe finally pulled herself away. I slipped out the main entrance ahead of them and hid where I could hear their conversation. Thank you for the lovely gift tonight, Ethan, Chloe cooed. Anything to make you happy. Ethan Vance said with a grin. I have to go out of town on business next week. I'll be gone for a few days. I'll miss you, she pouted. You sure your husband isn't getting suspicious? Not a chance, Chloe scoffed. He's a robot. He wouldn't notice if the house was on fire. Besides, he's so in love with me. He wouldn't dare question anything I do. That's what I like to hear. A rich, clueless guy is the easiest to fool, Vance said, stroking her cheek. Once I get this deal closed, we'll tell him. We'll take him for everything he's got and leave him with nothing. Really? Chloe's eyes lit up. Of course. You're 100 times better off with me than with that pathetic loser. I'll be waiting, she said. I stood just outside the doors, my entire body shaking. Not from fear, but from a rage so intense it felt like my veins were on fire. They not only betrayed me, but they were planning to ruin me financially, and they called me a loser. Fine. This is how you want to play? I discreetly took a picture of them kissing, then drove home. An hour later, Chloe returned. When she knocked, I pretended I'd just woken up on the couch. Leo, I'm home, she said, her voice a little hoarse. You're back late. How was the party? I asked. It was fun. I had a little too much to drink, she said, walking over to me. Why were you sleeping on the couch? I could smell another man's cologne on her, and my stomach turned. I was waiting for you. Must have dozed off. Silly, I told you not to wait up, she said, planting a kiss on my forehead. Okay, I'm gonna go shower. You should get to bed. I watched her walk toward the bathroom and let out a cold, humorless laugh. A shower? More like trying to wash off the scent of another man. Chloe, if you really think I'm that much of a fool, then you're in for a rude awakening. I picked up my phone and started digging into Ethan Vance. As a director of engineering, my research skills are not to be underestimated. It didn't take long to find everything I needed. Ethan Vance, 35, managing director at a private investment firm. Divorced. The reason for the divorce? His ex-wife caught him cheating. So, he's a serial adulterer. But it got more interesting. I uncovered some of his business secrets. Vance's company was involved in what looked like a Ponzi scheme, and he personally was deep into tax evasion. I saved all the evidence and began to formulate my plan. Chloe, Ethan, you think I'm a fool. Let's see who's left standing when this is all over. For the next few days, I acted completely normal. I was the same doting, oblivious husband I'd always been. But in private, my revenge was already in motion. First, I hired a private investigator to follow Chloe and Ethan to gather more concrete evidence. Then I started a deep dive into Vance's company. As a tech director, I have access to resources and backdoors most people don't even know exist. I discovered the company wasn't just running a scheme. It was also a front for money laundering. What infuriated me most was finding out that Chloe had already started transferring our joint assets. She'd moved a significant amount of money from our shared savings into her personal account and had sold several pieces of jewelry I'd bought for her without telling me. This woman hadn't just betrayed me emotionally. She was actively robbing me. Leo, what's going on with you lately? You seem so distracted, Chloe asked me over dinner one night. It's nothing, just some stuff at work, I replied. What is it? You can tell me. Maybe I can help, she said, her face a perfect mask of concern. I looked at her hypocritical expression and laughed internally. Help? The best help you could offer is to stop stabbing me in the back. It's no big deal. It's almost sorted out. Okay, good. Chloe seemed relieved. Hey, it's the weekend tomorrow. We haven't had a date night in forever. Want to go see a movie? Sure. Great. I'll buy the tickets. What do you want to see? Whatever you want is fine with me. Chloe happily pulled out her phone to look up showtimes. I glanced over and saw her open a text conversation with Ethan Vance. Ethan, can't see you tomorrow. Your husband wants to go to the movies. Chloe, I have to. He seems a little suspicious lately, so I need to put on a good show. Ethan, that idiot is finally catching on? Chloe, I doubt it. He's just been quieter than usual. Probably just stressed from work. Ethan, just be careful. Don't blow your cover. Chloe, please. You know how good my acting is. Acting? We'll see how long that act holds up. We went to the movies. Chloe held my arm, acting as affectionate as ever. In the theater, she fed me popcorn and whispered little comments about the film in my ear. Couples around us glanced over with envious smiles, thinking we were the perfect pair. If I didn't know the truth, I might have thought so too. But now her touch just made my skin crawl. Did you like the movie, honey? Chloe asked as we walked out. It was okay, I said, non-committally. To be honest, I hadn't watched a single minute of it. My focus was entirely on her, studying her every expression, her every gesture. This woman was a master performer. If I didn't already have proof, she might have fooled me forever. Let's go grab dinner then, she suggested. Okay. We went to her favorite restaurant. Chloe ordered a ton of food and kept putting things on my plate. She was incredibly talkative, chattering on about her work and some funny news story she'd seen. I played my part, nodding and humming in response. "You're so quiet tonight, Leo," she suddenly said. "No, I'm just listening to you. But you seem distant." She looked worried. "Am I talking too much?" "Not all. I love listening to you talk," I said with a strained smile. She nodded, satisfied, and continued her performance. On the way home, Chloe suddenly stopped and said, "Leo, I feel like we've been drifting apart lately." "You think so?" "Yeah. You didn't used to be like this," she said, turning to face me. "You used to be the one starting conversations, buying me little gifts, comforting me when I was down. And now you're just cold. It's like you're not interested in anything." Her eyes started to well up. "Don't you love me anymore?" Hearing that, I almost burst out laughing. "Don't I love you? Chloe, do you even hear yourself?" "Of course I do," I said, pulling her into a hug. "I'll always love you." "Really?" She mumbled into my chest, her voice thick with fake tears. "Really?" I said, stroking her hair. "You're the love of my life." I wasn't lying. I did love her, or at least I had. But now, that love had curdled into pure, unadulterated hate. "Then can you please go back to how you used to be?" she asked, looking up at me with tear-filled eyes. "Of course," I said, kissing her forehead. "Let's go home." Chloe smiled, satisfied, and took my arm again. What she couldn't see, as we walked away, was the murderous look in my eyes. "You want to act, Chloe?" "Fine. I'll play along. Let's see who's the better actor." A week later, the private investigator sent me his full report. It included hotel receipts for Chloe and Ethan, photos of them shopping together, going to movies, and even planning a vacation. But the most damning evidence came from their text messages, where Ethan laid out his plan. "After the holidays, we'll file for divorce and leave your husband with nothing. I've already talked to a lawyer. You'll claim emotional distress and irreconcilable differences. The courts will side with you, and you'll get most of the assets." "Are you serious? That would be amazing. Trust me, I have experience with this. It's how I handle my ex-wife." "You're so bad." "I love it. Once you have the money, we'll get married. I've already found a perfect house for us." "Good. I'm so sick of living with that boring man. A life with you is all I want." Reading those messages, my rage exploded. They weren't just betraying me. They were playing me for a fool, planning to strip me of everything I'd ever worked for and toss me aside. Ethan Vance. "Chloe, you have no idea what you've just started." When Chloe said she was going out with her girlfriends again, I didn't follow her. I didn't have to. I knew exactly where she was going. I waited at home until 10 p.m., then drove directly to the five-star hotel. I walked straight up to the front desk. "Hi, I need to get in a room 1208. "And you are, sir?" the concierge asked. "I'm Leo Miller. My wife, Chloe, is in a meeting in that room, and I have an emergency." The concierge hesitated. "Sir, we need to call the room to confirm." "There's no time," I insisted, pulling out my driver's license and a credit card with my name on it, then a photo of Chloe and me on my phone. "This is my wife. I have a right to see her." After a moment of deliberation, she handed me a key card. I took the elevator to the 12th floor and found room 1208. I didn't knock. I swiped the card and pushed the door open. The scene inside almost made me lose control. Chloe and Ethan Vance were on the bed, completely naked. The sound of the door opening made them both whip their heads around. Chloe screamed and scrambled to pull the sheets over herself. Ethan, on the other hand, was completely calm. He didn't even bother to sit up, just lay there, looking at me. "What are you doing here?" Chloe's voice trembled. "What? I'm not allowed," I said, stepping inside and closing the door behind me. I just wanted to see what kind of girl's night my loving wife was having. Chloe's face went pale as a sheet. "Leo, I can explain." "Explain?" I let out a cold laugh. "How are you going to explain this?" "Explain why you're in bed with another man." This was an accident," she stammered. "An accident?" Ethan suddenly spoke, slowly sitting up and wrapping a robe around himself. "Mr. Miller, since you're here, I think we could drop the act." "What did you say?" I stared at him. I said, "Chloe doesn't love you." "She loves me," Ethan said, lighting a cigarette with a smug look on his face. "You think you have a happy marriage? Wake up. She's been with me for 3 months." "Ethan," Chloe pleaded, trying to shut him up. "What are you afraid of?" Ethan waved her off. We were going to tell him eventually. Might as well be now. He walked over to me and blew a cloud of smoke in my face. "Mr. Miller, Chloe was only with you for the house and the financial security. But now, she's found a better option." I clenched my fists, every fiber of my being wanting to smash my fist into his arrogant face. "You think you're so impressive?" I said through gritted teeth. "A hell of a lot more impressive than you," Ethan laughed. "Look at you, an uptight tech geek who doesn't know how to do anything but work. Did you really think a woman like Chloe could ever truly love you?" Ethan, shut up. Chloe yelled, jumping out of bed. No, let him talk, I said, my eyes locked on Ethan. I want to hear what other brilliant insights you have. Insights? Ethan roared with laughter. I'll tell you something. Chloe never loved you, not from the start. She married you for your money. Now that a better offer has come along, she's obviously going to take it. So this was your plan all along? Of course, Ethan said proudly. We've already consulted a lawyer. The plan was to leave you with nothing. An honest guy like you is the easiest to screw over. Chloe was going to claim emotional abuse, maybe even say you hit her, and the court would have given her everything. You? My voice was shaking, not with fear, but with pure rage. What? Are you angry? Ethan taunted, stepping closer. What good is getting angry? Chloe is my woman now. A loser like you should just know your place and crawl away. I looked at Chloe. She was staring at the floor, refusing to meet my eyes. Chloe, is what he's saying true? I asked her. She was silent for a long time before finally, slowly, lifting her head. Leo, let's get a divorce. Why? Because I don't love you anymore, she said, her voice chillingly cold. Or maybe I never did. Her words were a knife straight through my heart. Then why did you marry me? Because you were stable. You had a good job, a house. You could give me a comfortable life, Chloe said, finally admitting the truth. But now I have a better option, so it's time for me to leave. A better option? I glanced at Ethan. You think this man is better than me? Of course he is, Chloe said, her eyes filled with disdain. He has more money than you. He's more romantic, and he knows how to make a woman happy. Being with you felt like I was a widow. So you cheated on me? It's not cheating. It's pursuing true love, she said, her voice dripping with self-righteousness. I have a right to be happy. Hearing her words, I started to laugh. What are you laughing at? Chloe frowned. I'm laughing at how naive you both are, I said, my laughter growing louder. Did you really think I was a fool? What do you mean? Ethan's expression shifted, sensing something was wrong. I pulled out my phone and hit the record button. I've recorded everything you've just said. Your admission to the affair, your conspiracy to take all my assets, all of it. Chloe's face drained of all color. You were recording. Not just recording. I have photos too, I continued. You thought I didn't know anything? I've known for weeks. The only reason I came here tonight was to get you to admit it yourselves. Realizing what was happening, Ethan lunged at me, trying to grab my phone. But I was ready for him. I sidestepped his clumsy attack and drove my foot hard into his stomach. He doubled over, gasping in pain. You hit me, he snarled, clutching his gut. What's wrong with that? I sneered. You sleep with my wife, and I can't hit you? You pathetic loser. Ethan seethed. Do you have any idea who I am? You think you can touch me? Oh, I know exactly who you are, I said, pulling out a second phone. Ethan Vance, Managing Director of Vantage Capital. Currently under investigation for securities fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion. I have all the proof right here. Ethan's face went white. You investigated me? You and your entire company, I said. You think my job title is just for show? Digging up dirt like this is child's play for me. What do you want? Ethan's voice was now trembling. What do I want? I laughed coldly. I want to make you pay. I walked over to Chloe. My dear wife, didn't you say you wanted a divorce? Leo, let's just talk about this, please. Chloe's voice was shaking. I was just emotional before. I didn't mean it. Emotional? I cut her off. Was sleeping with him for 3 months being emotional? Was transferring our money being emotional? Was planning to leave me with nothing also just you being emotional? How did you know? Chloe trailed off, horrified. How do I know? I pulled up the folder from the private investigator. These photos, these text messages, these hotel receipts. It's all here. Chloe stared at the screen, her face a mask of utter despair. Leo, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was so wrong. She suddenly dropped her knees. Please forgive me. I'll never do it again, I swear. A little late for apologies, isn't it? I said, looking down at her. Please, we're husband and wife. You can't do this to me, she sobbed, tears streaming down her face. I'll do anything to make it up to you. Anything. I crouched down to look her in the eyes. Then go die. Chloe flinched back, terrified. Just kidding, I said, standing up. I'm not a killer. I'm just going to make you wish you were dead. After leaving the hotel, I didn't go to the local police. I went online and submitted a detailed, anonymous tip to the SEC and the IRS, complete with a meticulously organized trove of digital evidence detailing every one of Ethan Vance's crimes. The next day, federal agents arrested Ethan Vance at his office. The news broke immediately. A prominent investment manager arrested for running a massive fraud scheme. His company's assets were frozen, and hundreds of investors lost everything. Ethan Vance became a pariah overnight. When Chloe heard the news, she called me, hysterical. Leo, you have to help Ethan. He's been arrested, and it's all your fault, she cried into the phone. You're right, it is, I said coldly. What's the matter? Worried about your boyfriend. How could you do this? He's innocent. Innocent. I laughed. A man who defrauded people out of millions of dollars is innocent? Chloe, are you delusional? Those were just business deals, not crimes. The court will decide what is and isn't a crime, I said. By the way, do you know what Ethan is doing in jail right now? What do you mean? He's blaming everything on his subordinates. And he's telling the police that you were his accomplice, I said slowly. The feds are now looking into whether you were involved in his criminal activities. That's impossible. Chloe screamed. I didn't do anything. Really? Then how do you explain the $30,000 that mysteriously appeared in your private bank account? Chloe went silent. That was the money Ethan had given her for jewelry. Its source was definitely not clean. Leo, I'm begging you. Please help me. Chloe's voice was now a desperate sob. I'm your wife. You can't just leave me to die. My wife. I sneered. Weren't you the one demanding a divorce just last night? Funny how you only remember you're my wife when you need something. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I know I was wrong, Chloe sobbed. I'll do anything to make up for it. Please, just forgive me. Anything. Anything. Fine. Be at the lawyer's office tomorrow at 10 a.m. to sign the divorce papers, I said. We'll follow the terms of our prenup. You leave with nothing. What prenup? We never signed a prenup. We didn't, I said, feigning surprise as I rustled a piece of paper. Then what's this? Chloe went silent on the other end of the line, her breath catching in her throat. She knew exactly what I was holding. A prenuptial agreement, with her signature on it, clearly stating that in the event of infidelity, the guilty party forfeits all marital assets. That's a fake, she shrieked. I never signed that. Fake or not, a judge can decide, I said coldly. But with the mountain of evidence I have of your affair, you won't be getting much of anything anyway. This just makes it cleaner. Chloe was utterly defeated. The next morning, she was waiting outside the lawyer's office when I arrived. She looked like a ghost, haggard, eyes swollen and red, a shadow of her former self. Leo, can we please not do this? She made one last desperate attempt. I know I messed up. I'll change, I swear. It's too late, I said, holding out the divorce settlement. Sign it. Chloe stared at the papers, tears silently rolling down her cheeks. The terms were brutal. She walked away with nothing but the clothes on her back. Are you really this heartless? She whispered. After 3 years of marriage, does our time together mean nothing to you? 3 years of marriage. I scoffed. Did you think about our time together when you were sleeping with another man? Sign it, or I'll post the pictures of you and Ethan online for the entire world to see, I threatened. Her hands shaking, Chloe signed her name. We filed the papers, and just like that, our 3-year marriage was over. I hate you, Leo, she spat, her voice filled with venom. I'll get you back for this. Go ahead and try, I said, turning and walking away without a second glance. The game was just beginning. My revenge didn't end with a divorce. First, I sent the photos of her and Ethan to a few key people at her advertising agency. In an industry built on image, that kind of scandal was career suicide. She was fired within the week for conduct damaging to the company's reputation. Second, I made sure her family and friends knew exactly what she had done. Her parents, mortified, told her they wanted nothing to do with her. Her friends, one by one, stopped answering her calls, disgusted by her actions. Third, I created an anonymous blog post detailing her affair and posted it to local community forums, complete with photos. Chloe became infamous overnight. She tried moving, but her story followed her. Landlords rejected her application. Neighbors recognized her and whispered behind her back. No company would hire her. About a month later, she cornered me outside my office building. She was almost unrecognizable. Leo, what more do you want? She cried, her voice raw. You've already destroyed my life. Isn't that enough? No, I said, looking at her without a trace of pity. I want you to know what it feels like to have nothing. Why? She sobbed. I know I hurt you, but this is too much. This is cruel. Cruel? I laughed. Was it not cruel when you betrayed me for months? Was it not cruel when you planned to take everything I owned and leave me on the street? That was a moment of weakness. A moment. I cut her off. Chloe, you're still making excuses. You never loved me. You married me for my money. A woman like that doesn't deserve forgiveness. She couldn't form a response. Go away, I said, turning to leave. Leo. She grabbed my arm, her grip surprisingly strong. Please, just let me go. I'll do anything. I'll be your slave. Just please, stop tormenting me. I shook her off. It's too late. She collapsed onto the pavement, sobbing uncontrollably. A crowd was starting to form, people pointing and pulling out their phones. Someone recognized her and started live streaming. Cheating wife begs for forgiveness on the street. It was the ultimate humiliation. That evening, I got a text. Leo, it's Ashley. Can we meet? I need to talk to you. Ashley, Chloe's best friend, her primary accomplice. I've been waiting for this. I replied, the coffee shop on 5th. 8 o'clock. She was already there when I arrived, wringing her hands nervously. Mr. Miller. Leo, I wanted to talk about Chloe, she began. There's nothing to talk about, I said coldly. I know what she did was wrong, but don't you think you've gone too far? She ventured. She's hit rock bottom. She can't find a job. She's about to be evicted. And how is that my problem? You were married. You shared a life. Ex-husband, I corrected her. And you, of all people, have no right to lecture me. What do you mean? She asked, her eyes darting around nervously. I pulled out my phone and played a recording. It was a phone call between her and Chloe. Ashley's voice. Okay. I texted Leo and told him you're working late. He said not to wait up. Chloe's voice. Perfect. Have fun with Mr. Vance. Ashley's voice. Hi, you know I will. He's so much more exciting than that stick-in-the-mud Leo. Chloe's voice. Tell me about it. Marrying him was such a step down. Thank God for Ethan. I finally feel like I'm living again. The recording ended. Ashley's face was ashen. Where did you get that? She stammered. This is a recording of your call with Chloe, I said with a chilling smile. I know everything. I know how you two laughed at me behind my back. Leo, I can explain. Don't bother, I said, standing up. By tomorrow, you'll be in the same boat as Chloe. Her eyes widened in terror. What are you going to do to me? You'll see. The next day, an anonymous email was sent to Ashley's company. It contained a full dossier of her involvement in Chloe's affair, including the call recording, receipts for hotel rooms she'd booked for them, and screenshots of group chats where she'd mocked me. She was fired. Where her boyfriend found out, he dumped her on the spot. She called me, sobbing and begging for mercy. Leo, I'm so sorry. Please, I'll do anything. Just leave me alone. Sorry now? I sneered. Were you sorry when you were helping Chloe lie to my face? I was just trying to be a good friend. A good friend? I cut her off. By helping her cheat on her husband? By helping her destroy a family? Is that what friendship means to you? She couldn't answer through her tears. Stay out of my life, I said, and hung up. One by one, Chloe's other friends who had helped her cover her tracks met similar fates. Their lives were systematically dismantled. Soon, Chloe was completely and utterly alone. A month later, I received a call from an unknown number. Am I speaking with Mr. Leo Miller? A man's voice asked. You are. Who is this? My name is Mark Shen. I'm an attorney representing Ms. Chloe Davis. I'd like to schedule a meeting with you. She got a lawyer? I was almost impressed. Yes. We are preparing to file a lawsuit against you for malicious defamation, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. I laughed. On what grounds? We have evidence that you illegally distributed her private photos and orchestrated a campaign of online harassment against her. Private photos? I scoffed. I distributed evidence of her adultery. As the victim, I have every right to expose the truth. Your actions have far exceeded any reasonable measure and have caused my client severe psychological harm. Psychological harm? I was furious now. What about the harm she caused me? The betrayal, the deceit, the emotional trauma of her actions. The lawyer was silent for a moment. Mr. Miller, we would prefer to settle this out of court. Ms. Davis is prepared to offer you a formal apology in exchange for you ceasing this campaign against her. An apology? I sneered. She wants to apologize now. Yes, she is deeply remorseful. Tell her to say it to my face, I said. Tonight, 8 o'clock, the coffee shop where we had our first date. I will pass along the message. At 8, Chloe shuffled into the coffee shop. She looked even worse than before, skeletally thin, with deep, dark circles under her eyes. The beautiful woman I married was gone. Leo, thank you for seeing me, she said, her voice a dry rasp. Get on with it, I said. I want to apologize, she said, her eyes fixed on the table. I know what I did was wrong. I betrayed you. I hurt you. I'm willing to accept the consequences. I'm just asking you to please stop. You want to apologize now? I sneered. Where was this apology when you and Ethan Vance were plotting to leave me with nothing? I wasn't thinking clearly. I was mesmerized by him. Mesmerized? I cut her off. Chloe, you're still making excuses. You're not sorry for what you did. You're just sorry you got caught. I am, she insisted, looking up, her eyes brimming with tears. I truly am. This past month, I've done nothing but think about what I did. I hate myself for it. Is that so? Then tell me, what exactly are you sorry for? She wiped away a tear. I'm sorry for betraying our marriage, for breaking your trust. I'm sorry I was so vain and didn't appreciate what I had. I'm sorry for all the horrible things I said. And I don't know what else. Your biggest mistake, Chloe, was that you never loved me, I said, looking directly into her eyes. You married me for my money, you stayed with me for my money, and even now, you're only begging for my forgiveness so I'll stop ruining your life. You never saw me as a person. I was just an ATM. Chloe was speechless. You know what I hate the most, Chloe? I continued. It's not the cheating. It's the hypocrisy. If you had been honest from the start and told me you didn't love me, I could have respected that. But you chose to deceive me, to use me, and to mock me behind my back. A woman like that deserves no one's forgiveness. Leo, I swear I know I was wrong. She sobbed. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Making it up to me? I laughed coldly. What makes you think the rest of your life is worth anything to me? Why? Why are you being so cruel? She choked out. Cruel? I stood up. You don't get to use that word. You were the one who was cruel. Everything I'm doing now is just giving you a taste of your own medicine. Leo, please. She suddenly dropped to her knees on the floor. I'm begging you, let me go. I have nothing left. People in a coffee shop turned to stare. A few started recording with their phones. Get up, I said flatly. Your tears don't work on me anymore. I won't get up, she cried hysterically. Not until you promise to forgive me. Then I guess you'll be kneeling there for a long time. I turned and walked out. Leo, she screamed after me. You'll regret this. You'll regret this. I never looked back. I would never regret it. Another month went by. Chloe hit absolute rock bottom. She had been jobless for 2 months, her savings were gone, and she couldn't make rent. After being evicted, she was homeless, sleeping in shelters or 24-hour McDonald's. She tried to contact Ethan, but he was still in jail, and word was he'd pinned as much of the blame as he could on his associates, including her. Her parents had disowned her. Her friends had abandoned her. She was utterly alone. One night, I was working late when my phone rang. It was an unknown number. Is this Leo Miller? A woman's voice asked. Yes, who is this? I'm a nurse at Grace Hospital. Your ex-wife, Chloe Davis, is here. She listed you as her emergency contact. What? What happened to her? She attempted suicide by overdosing on pills. We're stabilizing her now, the nurse said gravely. You need to come as soon as you can. I paused for a moment, then said, I'm on my way. After hanging up, I just sat at my desk, staring into space. Chloe tried to kill herself. Honestly, I felt nothing. No shock, no sadness. If anything, I felt a strange sense of relief. Half an hour later, I arrived at the hospital. They had managed to save her. She was lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to an 4. When she saw me, a faint light flickered in her eyes. Leo, you came. Yeah. I sat down beside her. Why did you do it? Because I can't live like this anymore, she whispered, her voice weak. No job, no friends, no family. I'm like a ghost. So you decided to die? Yes. Death would be a relief, she said, her eyes fixed on me. But I couldn't bear the thought of leaving you. Leaving me? I scoffed. Did you think about me when you were in bed with another man? I was wrong. I was so wrong. She started crying again. Leo, can we please start over? I swear, I'll love you right this time. I'll never betray you again. Start over. I looked at her as if she were insane. Chloe, are you out of your mind? No, I'm not, she said, her voice rising with emotion. I mean it. I finally realized that you're the one I love. I'm the one you love. I laughed. Who were you thinking about when you were sleeping with Ethan Vance? She had no answer. You're still lying, Chloe, I said, standing up. You'll never truly love anyone because you only love yourself. That's not true, she cried, desperate. I do love you. I can prove it. How? I'll do anything, she said, grabbing my hand. Please, just give me one more chance. I pulled my hand away. A chance? You've used up all your chances. Leo, she wailed as I walked toward the door. You can't be this heartless. We were married for 3 years. I stopped and looked back at her. 3 years? You have a nerve to bring that up now. I know I hurt you, but what? I interrupted. But I should forgive you? But I should give you another chance? Chloe, why on earth do you think I owe you anything? She stared at me, speechless. From this moment on, your life and your death have nothing to do with me, I said coldly. And next time, find a different emergency contact. With that, I walked out of the room. As I reached the hospital exit, my phone rang. It was Chloe. I answered, and before I could speak, I was met with a hysterical shriek. Leo, you bastard. You ruined my life. I hate you. I will never forgive you. Whatever you say, I replied calmly. You think you've won? She screamed. I'll tell you this. If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. Go ahead and try. I hung up the phone. An hour later, I got a call from the Seattle Police Department. Mr. Miller? This is Officer Chun. We've received a report that you made threats against someone's life. We need you to come in for questioning. I knew it was Chloe. At the station, I explained the entire situation, providing the police with all the evidence of her affair and their scheme. Mr. Miller, we understand the situation, the officer said. Your ex-wife has filed a malicious report, and we will be issuing her a warning. As for her claim about you distributing private photos, our review indicates you are sharing evidence of her infidelity. As the wrong party, your actions fall within your rights. Thank you, officer. That said, he added, our advice is to let it go. This cycle of revenge never ends well. Understand. Leaving the station, I found the whole thing laughable. Even at this stage, her first instinct was revenge. She would never change. A week later, a package arrived at my office. Inside was a kitchen knife and a note. Leo, I'm going to kill you. I immediately called the police. They found Chloe quickly, hiding out in an abandoned warehouse, apparently waiting to ambush me. As they let her pass me in handcuffs, I looked at her. You've really lost it, Chloe. She turned, her eyes burning with pure hatred. Leo, I will haunt you from hell. You're already in it, I said calmly, and you're the one who chose to walk in. Chloe was held for 15 days for making terroristic threats. After her release, she didn't come after me again. She vanished. I heard later that she'd left the city, moving somewhere no one knew her. Ethan Vance was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. His company was liquidated, his investors lost everything, and his name became synonymous with fraud. As for Chloe's so-called friends, they didn't fare much better. Ashley couldn't find work and eventually moved back in with her parents in her hometown. The others became social pariahs. 6 months later, I heard the news. Chloe was dead. She had killed herself in a small town a few states away. She died alone. The police found a note. In it, she wrote that living was agony, that she hated the world, hated everyone, but most of all, she hated me. I was at my desk when I found out. I stopped what I was doing and sat there in silence for a few minutes. I felt nothing. No grief, no guilt, not even a sense of closure. It was like hearing about the death of a stranger. That, Chloe, is the price of betrayal. You made your choice, and you had to live and die with the consequences. I never forced you to die. You chose that path yourself. A month after that, I received another piece of news. Ethan Vance had been killed in prison. The official story was that he got into a fight with his cellmate and was beaten to death. The investigation concluded it was an accidental death, and no charges were filed. But I knew it wasn't an accident. The day Ethan was sent to prison, I had arranged for it through certain channels. No one was going to shed a tear for a con man who ruined hundreds of lives. That, Ethan Vance, was the prize for your humiliation. You thought I was just some quiet, honest guy you could push around? You were wrong. I don't go looking for trouble, but that doesn't mean I'm a pushover. Now, all the scores were settled. Chloe was dead. Ethan was dead. Their accomplices had all paid a price. I could finally start my new life.